So the goal for today's video is very simple. We got to win a Stanley Cup, but there is one issue. I have to accept absolutely every single trade that is offered to me. So if I have to trade Lucic for Connor McDavid, I have to accept that deal no matter what. We're getting the 21st overall pick. It doesn't really matter what we draft here because I'm not controlling the team. Well, I'm controlling the team, but I'm not controlling the team. You know what I mean. So here's what our team's looking like. With the 21st overall pick, we selected Jack Hughes. Then we got Morrissey, Buchnevich, Pollock, Nick Schmaltz, Kemper. We actually have a really good team here. We have a lot of good young pieces as well. I can actually live with what we drafted here. We might be able to do something. Since I have absolutely zero trust in the CPU, there's 3 things I'm allowed to do. When it comes to the draft, I'm in full control of that, and I can draft whichever players I want. Because based on previous experience, I'm yet to see the CPU do a good job drafting outside the first round. Outside of that, once I'm in the offseason, I'm allowed to do 1 trade, and I'm also allowed to do 1 free agent signing. The reason I'm adding these rules is I don't want the CPU just blatantly ignoring a position. So it does not matter what our team looks like right now, because once I hit this button, it's going to completely change. We're about to lose half of our team. Okay, I'm absolutely amazed we made it through the preseason and weren't offered a trade. Because whenever I've done other videos where I'm accepting all trades, we usually get one within like 1 or 2 days. Okay, we've started the season 6-2-1 and we haven't been offered a trade yet. I don't know what's going on. And just to prove it, trade notifications is on. I also put CPU scoring and shot frequency to high, and I upped the draft class quality because why not? I want to see some elite players coming into the league. Also, I'm going to mention this right now. I'm only doing 10 seasons because I'm not sitting through 20 years of simulation, 25 years of simulation. That's just beyond ridiculous. So if we don't do it within 10 years, I'm just going to have to call it quits. So we're finally getting offered a trade, and that's going to include a 2nd and 5th round pick from Florida over to the Arizona Coyotes for Victor Arvidsson and a 3rd round pick. Also, the salary cap's off because I want to get as many trades as possible. So Victor Arvidsson, welcome to the Florida Panthers. Also, if you like the moves your favorite team has made during the offseason, make sure you subscribe to the channel. And if you don't like the moves that your team's made during the offseason, I'm looking at you Ottawa Senators fans, then make sure you subscribe to the channel. Basically, if your team has done something during the offseason, make sure you subscribe to the channel. Alright, so I don't want to sit here forever and wait for a trade to happen. So the second it hits 7 a.m., I'm just going to simulate to the end of the season. Because I'm going to keep it 1,000. I want to sit here and wait for somebody to offer me a 3rd and 4th round pick in exchange for a 2nd or something. Just an absolutely useless trade. So we've reached 7 a.m. I haven't been offered a trade, so I'm just going to exit the trade deadline and simulate to the end of the season. So the Florida Panthers are actually looking pretty solid right now. 6th in the entire league, a 47-29-6 record. I did not expect us to be this good. Is the CPU cooking right now? Who would have seen that one coming? Who would have thought? Jack Hughes was an absolute beast this season. He's picking up 28 goals and 60 helpers for 88 points. But shout out to the St. Louis Blue Factor and Pavel Buchnevich, 37 goals, 46 assists, 83 points. He was the true leader of this team, if we're being completely honest. Meanwhile, in between the pipes, Kemper, honestly, that wasn't a great season from you. I'm just going to keep it 1,000. Yeah, you led us with 36 wins. You didn't pick up any shutouts, though. A 906 save percentage and a 304 goals against. I'm a bit concerned with those numbers. Kemper, I'm taking that statement back because I completely forgot I put goal frequency on high, because Tristan Jarry led all goaltenders with 47 wins, and he had a goals against of about 3 as well. So the fact that you were sitting here with a 304, I can live with that. Also, shout out to Rangers legend Nathan McKinnon, 64 goals and 54 helpers for 118 points. You were doing your thing this season. In the first round, we're going to see the Florida Panthers having their hands full as they got to take on the Ottawa Senators. And this Ottawa team is absolutely no joke. Barkov, Stone, and Sergachev leading the way for them, but I don't think they can compete with Jack Hughes, Morrissey, and Buchnevich if we're being completely honest. The series is currently tied 3-3, and we've dropped the last 2 games. Yes, we did have a 3-1 series lead at one point, and we are potentially about to blow that. Thankfully, Florida's defense is going to be showing out in this game. Ottawa only has 18 shots. We'll make that 19 shots with 3 minutes left in the game. They're going to be able to crack 20, but we're cruising to a 3-0 victory. Moving on to the second round, we're going to have our hands full with the Buffalo Sabres as they're coming off a sweep over the Carolina Hurricanes. And this Buffalo Sabres team is no joke because they have a ton of studs here. Matthew Tkachuk, Bo Horvat, William Nylander give me the top guys here. We matched up pretty well against the Buffalo Sabres, but when push came to shove, they were just a bit better, and they're taking us down a 6-game series. Although we fell in the second round, I'm feeling pretty confident about this team. We have a good solid young core here, and I know they're going to develop over the next few years. Now I just need to hold it down and do a fantastic job drafting. And shout out to Jack Hughes, an absolute beast for us. He's picking up 17 points and leading the team. So with my first selection in the draft with the 27th overall pick, I'm going to be bringing Tom Willander onto the team. I was also able to pick up a stud late in the 4th round. I'm bringing Antropov to the team, and he's got low elite potential, so I think he could be a solid piece for this team. As long as he stays here, because there's a good chance he ends up getting traded at some point. So although we did have 7 selections, Willander and Antropov were the only 2 notable prospects I drafted, which is still better than the CPU would have done because they probably would have passed on Willander and went with some guy that has AHL potential in the first round, so I'll take what we got. So when it comes to free agency, since there is no cap space, I can sign any player I want. But we have to keep this a bit realistic. realistic because I'm not going to offer Timo Meier $17 million that he's 1000% not going to decline just to come to our team, because that's just getting outrageous. So the new rule for free agency is I can sign one player 85 overall and below, and I also can only go 500k over what their salary expected is. So the player I'm going to be signing is going to be Max Domi to a 3-year deal or 4.6 million. He'll be a good bottom 6 piece for us, and at 28 years old he's still got a bit of time to develop, but he's also not going to be declining. I take that back, he's not going to develop at all, but he's 28. He's not going to hit a wall and immediately drop to like a 72 overall. So the trade I'm making is Arvidsson, a 3rd round pick, and Nyman over to the Vegas Golden Knights for Dubé. Also, the other rule I'm making, because I'm just making up rules on the spot here, the contracts have to be somewhat close. Basically, I can't trade for somebody on a $10 million salary and only give them $2 million. It has to be somewhat close. They're going to be saying no to this deal, but I feel like we can make something work. So I'm going to add a 6th round pick to the deal. That should be enough to get it done. It is. Dylan Dubé, welcome to the Florida Panthers. So we're getting a few offers during the offseason. The first one's going to be sending a 2nd rounder along with a prospect over to the Pittsburgh Penguins for a 3rd and a 4th. Low key, I'm pretty sure we just got finessed there. And I guess we're not done there. A 4th and a 7th over to the Pittsburgh Penguins for a 4th and a 5th. We're also giving them a prospect in the deal. This is just a weird trade. We're continuing to shuffle a bunch of picks around. We're just acquiring 2 more from the New York Rangers in this one. Alright, so when I signed Max Domi, the idea was he was going to play on our 4th line because the coach chemistry there is pretty solid. He's like 3/4 of the way. He'd be a perfect fit there. But instead our coach is like, nah, I want Max Domi on my 2nd line. Like, this is literally that head coach preferred lines. He wants one on the 2nd line. Same with Dylan Dubé. He was perfect on the 4th line. Well, not perfect, but I mean like 2/3 of the way there. Like, he was pretty solid. But instead, nah, I want you on my 3rd line. Coach makes the rules here. I'm not going to fight him. Defensively, though, the GM's doing a pretty solid job keeping Morrissey, Pollock, Parenko, and Graves here. Well, actually, we picked up Graves during the offseason, so hey, that was a nice move. I got nothing to complain about there. Well, the goaltending situation is going to be looking the same, but Darcy Kuemper has dropped to an 84 overall. He's 33 years old. I think the trade I do next offseason is just going to bring in a younger goaltender. So heading into season number 2 here, we just have to pray the team doesn't completely fall apart and we don't have to trade Jack Hughes away for a 3rd round pick. Okay, we're almost halfway through the season. I was literally just about to say we're halfway through the season, haven't been offered a trade, but here we are, a 3rd and 4th rounder over to the Chicago Blackhawks for a 3rd and Barclay Goodrow. Honestly, I can live with that deal. It'll help our bottom 6. Not the worst move in the world. We also threw somebody on waivers. I have no clue who it was, but hey, we move. Also, we're below 500 right now. This team's not looking good, and we literally haven't traded anyone away, really. The only thing we've done is bring players in, and we still suck. We just lost 9-1. Oh nah, this team's... We lost 10-4 too? Oh no, this team's cooked. Not even respectfully. This team's just cooked. Wow, we lost 9-0 again. Okay, Darcy Kuemper, I'm trading you in the offseason. I don't know if it's a you issue or a defense issue. Someone got canned. You hate to see it, you really do. But yeah, we're going to move on from that. So heading into the trade deadline, we're going to be a conservative seller here. I don't want to really tank the team. I shouldn't say tank. I guess I don't want to sell the entire team here. But I also know we can't compete for a Stanley Cup this season, so whatever happens, happens. So once again, I sat here for a good hour, in-game hour. It's probably like 2 minutes real time. We didn't get offered any trades, so I'm moving on to the end of the season. All right, I have no clue how this happened, but here we are, 44, 33, and 5. We must have went crazy after the trade deadline. I actually didn't really pay attention. We made the playoffs. No clue how we made the playoffs, but here we are, and it's time for us to get a Stanley Cup that I also know won't happen, but it's neither here nor there. Hughes is having another fantastic season where once again he's leading the way with 88 points, and Buchnevich, he's picking up 86. Are these the exact same numbers as last season? Buchnevich had 83 last season, 86 this season. Hughes had 88 last season. I'm almost positive of that. Yeah, numbers are a bit different, but it's the same result. Okay, Kuemper, you were actually pretty solid this season. The backup was letting us down. Bro, you were terrible. An 870 and a 419. No, that's beyond ridiculous. Kuemper, I think we might still be able to win with you. Like, your numbers weren't bad by any means. And to put Kuemper's season in perspective, he was only 2 wins shy of leading the league in wins. So we low-key might have something here. Also, once again, Rangers legend Nathan McKinnon. He continues to prove that he is him. 61 goals, 66 helpers, 127 points. Alright then. Moving on to the postseason, we're going to see the Florida Panthers matching up against the New Jersey Devils in the first round. The Devils might have lost Jack Hughes, but they found a solid replacement in Leon Draisaitl, and they also have Johnny Hockey and Mark Scheifele. So I think our biggest issue is going to be stopping their forward core because that top 3 looks insane. The Devils are going to be putting up a fight against the Florida Panthers, but it doesn't look like it's going to be enough. We're going to find a way to stop their offense as we're taking them down to 6-game series, and that includes a shutout in game 6. This team's locked in right now. Also, I just want to point out, Max Domi led us through the first round in postseason scoring, 6 points in 6 games. Just thought I'd mention that. I'm the greatest GM of all time. We'll move on from that real quick though. The second round matchup is going to be a bit of a surprise as the Carolina Hurricanes are completing the massive upset in the first round, and that's who we have to take on next. But taking a quick look at this team, it's pretty clear that we can't sleep sleep on them. Nikita Kucherov, Shea Theodore, and Ryan Nugent-Hopkins are the top 3 guys here. They have a great balance of offensive power and great defense, so it's definitely not going to be an easy task for us. But we have Pavel Buchnevich, the St. Louis factor. I think that's enough to take them out. Similar to our second round matchup last season, we would match up pretty well with the Carolina Hurricanes, but they would just have the edge as they're going to be taking us out in a 6-game series. Honestly, heading into year 3, I feel like Florida's headed in the right direction. Then again, Carolina did get smoked in the conference finals, and then Tampa went on to sweep the Stanley Cup final. So at some point, we'll probably have to face the Tampa Bay Lightning, and if the Carolina Hurricanes don't even stand a chance against them, we got to make some major upgrades to our team. But one of those upgrades doesn't have to be our top scorer, because that's Max Domi, 5 goals, 8 assists, 13 points, the greatest possible pickup. The other pickup we're not going to mention, because I don't even see his name on this list, nor do I remember who it is. Oh, it's Dylan Dubé. Alright, what did he do in 12 games? Picked up 4 points, 2 goals, 2 assists, +1. Hey, he was +1. I'll give it to him. Entering the draft with my first selection, which is the 19th overall pick, I'm selecting Mark Moran. He's got medium top 6 potential, right wing sniper. He's got 1 X factor, which is going to help the team a bit. Is it X factor, superstar factor? I don't know. It's one of the factors. Okay, why is simulating to my next pick not an option? I want to simulate to my next selection. We didn't trade all of our picks, did we? Do we actually have no picks left? What happened to all of our picks? Alright then, we had 1 selection. Oh, I guess we did make a few trades where we were just trading all of our picks away. Alright, we have 9,000 picks for next season. That is good to know. 1 selection only. Alright, we got to move some picks and bring in players. So with my 1 signing, I'm going to bring Thomas Novak to the team on a 2-year deal. He'll be a good second line center for us as long as he plays second line center, because that's where his coaching chemistry is. So as long as we play him in the correct position, and on the correct line, this will be a great pickup for us. Now I just have to hope the CPU uses a bit of logic, and we know this game has none of that. So the guy I'm looking to acquire in a trade is going to be UC Saros. He's about 5 years younger than Darcy Kemper, and he's also 3 overalls higher. I think that might be enough to get us past the second round. So of course Kemper's going to be a part of this deal, but I'm going to package up some of the picks we've acquired, which is a 3rd and 2 fourths. I mean, one of the 4th round picks is ours, but that doesn't matter. I'm sending that over to the Montreal Canadiens. They're going to say no, but I know I got some assets here. And one of those assets is Josh Anderson. For some reason, he has a lot of trade value. More trade value than he probably should. I'm taking a few of these picks out. Can I literally just do Darcy Kemper and Josh Anderson for UC Saros? No. Okay, it looks like I'll have to add a pick. I'll probably put in a 3rd just to get this done. Actually, a 4th. I'm doing a 4th before I do a 3rd. That's high logic right there. That's some high IQ plays right there. So things aren't off to the greatest start during the offseason. Now I have to get rid of Teddy Beluga, and I'm just picking up a few picks. A 3rd and a 4th to be exact. We're about to trade our entire team. Jesper Fast, Martin Nook, over to the Winnipeg Jets. We're bringing in Braden McNabb. We don't need Braden McNabb, but I got to accept the deal. Okay, so this move isn't terrible. A 2nd, a 3rd, and the guy just drafted with the 19th overall pick over to the Seattle Kraken for Evander Kane. I don't know what overall Evander Kane is, but I know that's definitely going to help us a bit. As long as he hasn't completely declined, an 86. That's a steal for us. I'll accept that any day of the week. We're going to keep on flipping assets, and now a 2nd and a 3rd over to the Arizona Coyotes for Chris Tanev, a 3rd and a 5th. So here's where our team's looking like entering year 3. And we're actually looking great. Evander Kane's on that first line with Jack Hughes and Buchnevich. The second line's got Nick Schmaltz, Capo Caco. I always say his name wrong. Capo Caco. Capo Caco. Same difference. Connor Sheary. That's pretty solid. And the bottom 6, that's looking absolutely elite. Defensively, we're in a great spot, bringing back the exact same defense as last season. I got absolutely no problem with that. And in between the pipes, UC Saros, 87 overall. Now it's time for us to go get ourselves a Stanley Cup. And we'll definitely be able to compete for a Stanley Cup as long as we don't have to flip half the team. Oh god, what is this asking for? Okay, we're just flipping picks for Ryan Suter. Perfectly fine with me. What overall is Suter at this point though? I mean, if he's like an 84, I can live with that. 83. Yeah, he'll probably be able to play on that 3rd pairing. So we're about halfway through the season. Now we're sending a small trade over to the Colorado Avalanche for Tyler Johnson. Because of this move, we got to put Chris Tanev on waivers. Perfectly fine with me. He's not even in the lineup right now. So things are looking pretty solid for this team right now. I think we might be able to compete for a Stanley Cup. I'm entering this in buyer mode. So at the trade deadline, no moves can be getting made, so I'm off to the end of the season. So after all those moves we made during the offseason and the few trades we made during the season, Florida's looking absolutely fantastic. 47, 29, and 6, second in the entire league, only behind the Carolina Hurricanes. But this Carolina team's definitely not messing around, averaging over 4 goals a game. We're averaging 3.66, which isn't bad. But 4 goals per game, no, they know how to light the lamp. For the 3rd season in a row, of course, it's going to be our guy Jack Hughes leading the way. 41 goals, 57 helpers, 98 points. Dude's looking elite right now. Buchnevich is going to be picking up 89, and Capo Caco 71 points. You just kind of came out of nowhere. I mean, last season you were pretty good too, 60 points, year before 45. Alright, I take that back. I've been sleeping on you, my guy. You're doing your thing. I respect it. Meanwhile, it looks like UC Saros is a pretty solid pickup for us. He's got 39 wins this season, 1 shutout, a 904 save percentage, and a 315 goals against. And to put those numbers in perspective, he's tied with Georgiev's for most wins in the entire league, and he has a better save percentage and goals against. But Shesterkin, yeah, no, his numbers are a bit different. Then again, he is on the St. Louis Blues, and it doesn't matter who's on that team. You already know they're elite. Also, Ryan Nugent-Hopkins is leading the league with 117 points. Kind of random, but keep doing your thing. Also, Cooch is here, and I know he's on the Carolina Hurricanes. Patrick Laine is somehow back on Columbus. And Jack Eichel's in Arizona. Sorry to hear that. But as we know, Shesterkin's in St. Louis, so our first round matchup might not be the hardest for us as we have to take on the New York Rangers. Oh, we don't have a hope, do we? Not a chance at winning this. And I'm not talking about Nathan McKinnon or Steven Stamkos. They're great players, but Robert Thomas is here. 92 overall Robert Thomas. No, we're getting swept in 3 games. I mean, we should have all saw this coming. They had Robert Thomas on their team. Ain't no way we're going to be able to stop him. He probably averaged like 3 goals per game against us. He probably picked up at least 35 points in this one series. Robert Thomas only 7 points? Nah, he allowed us to be in this series. If he wanted to, 3 goals a game. But he said, nah, I want the Florida Panthers to have a chance. I don't want this to be a complete blowout. So not only were we upset in the first round, but the Carolina Hurricanes were as well. And they had to take on the Tampa Bay Lightning, and who would have saw this one coming? Tampa's going to cruise after that, and they're taking home the Stanley Cup in a 5-game series. The conference finals is also in 5 games. And so is the second round. Yeah, that Tampa team's just built different. These goaltending numbers are atrocious. Saros an 868 with a 424. And Soderblom an 810 with a 754. I might have said your last name wrong. But when you have a goals against of a 754, I can say it wrong. No disrespect, I just can't pronounce names to save my life. Okay, we got ourselves an absolute gem in the first round with a 27th overall pick, a medium elite potential goalie. He's already a 70 overall, and he's got all these X factors. 2 seasons away, he takes over. Saros, we might not even need you. I mean, I take that back. We need you for the next like 2-3 years, but once we get to that point, this dude's taking over. We're also going to be picking up another stud in the 4th round. I'm getting Helmer, a low elite potential defenseman. Outside of those 2 studs, we didn't really pick up anybody notable. So although Nick Backstrom is 37 years old and he is going to decline a bit, I'm going to bring him onto the team strictly because he has X factors. And I already know that's going to have to give us a +1, maybe even +2 overall boost to that specific line. So that'll boost him up to around an 87 overall. I'm not going to complain with an 87 overall for what? 4.9 million? No, that's a steal. Also, we do bring other players onto the team. This is the CPU signing this guy, Victor Olofsson. The CPU wants to bring him in. I'm not going to complain about that. So regarding trades, the guy I'm looking at right now is Erik Chernak. 6 years at 5.2 million. That's not a bad deal. I mean, the salary cap's off, so it doesn't really matter. 85 overall. He's a good defensive defenseman. On that second line pairing, potentially third line pairing, he's going to be a great pickup for this team. As long as they can get this deal done, because we really don't have that many assets. So I'm going to try a second rounder in Helmer over to the Buffalo Sabres for Erik Chernak. Not enough to get this deal done, but we're on the right path. I'll add a 3rd round pick into the deal. Maybe even a 4th. We'll go with a 4th because we have so many 4th and 5th round picks. We're throwing a 4th into the deal. Is that enough to get it done? Doesn't look like it. So I'll add a 5th rounder to the deal. Is that enough? Yes, it is. Erik Chernak, welcome to the Florida Panthers. So now we got to simulate to next season. Hopefully that we don't trade our entire team away. We're swapping picks. I can live with that. No way we're doing this deal. No, this is the worst possible deal we could do. We have to give up that elite goaltender for Kevin LeBlanc. LeBlanc? I don't even know what this dude's name is. I know who he is, but 86 overall. Ain't no way we're giving up an elite potential goalie who's a 70 overall already for Kevin LeBlanc. No way we're doing this deal. Ain't no way I gotta trade away our elite goaltender. No, I'm sick to my stomach. I'm actually so rattled. Matthias Ekholm. Hold on. As long as he's not like a 79 overall, I'm okay with this deal. He's an 80 overall. Alright, that's basically nothing then. He might not even play on our team. He's so low. Now what? We're just swapping picks. All right, then. I guess the rest of these are just going to be swapping picks. Joel Edmondson, he's like a 78 overall at this point because we're in the year 2025. More picks are being swapped. I'm assuming the rest of these trades are just going to be swapping picks. If we do get any more trades, we might not. Okay, this is definitely our season. +3 overall boost on the first line and then a +1 on the next 3. We have incredible forward depth here. There's no reason this should be letting us down. Defensively, I got no issue with what we have here. The -1 on that 3rd pairing is a bit concerning, but not really because we got a +2 on the first and a +1 on the second. Now we got a solid pairing here. Now goaltending. I don't know who our backup is. I know Saros is the starter. Who do we have backing him up? Mackenzie Blackwood. I got no issue with that. I was thinking it was going to be like a 69 overall goaltender. No, we got 83 overall Mackenzie Blackwood. 2-year deal. We're not going to need 2 years for you. We're just going to go win a Stanley Cup right now. Okay, we're bringing Scott Mayfield back to the team. I don't know why. We didn't re-sign him, but now we're going to give up 2 4th round picks for him. That's literally just pointless, but I guess. Also, we started the season 1-5. What's going on? There's no reason we should be this bad. Okay, we're above 500 now. Yeah, this team's about to go on a roll. We have ourselves another deal that doesn't really mean too much. A 4th and a 5th round over to the Winnipeg Jets for a 4th and Schultz. I guess we'll take it. Doesn't really change anything. And we immediately put him on waivers, so he probably got claimed. So basically, we traded a 4th and a 5th for a 4th. Okay, so things do not look good right now. We got to be a conservative buyer, though. There's no reason we should not be at the top of the league. We have so much talent on this team, but we're just a complete failure right now. Actually, you know what? I'm not wasting my time. We're what? 4 seasons in? I am yet to get a trade offer at the trade deadline, right to the end of the year. I'm not going to sit here for 2 minutes to not be offered any trades. They had their chance to make a trade with us. We're moving on from every other team. So I don't know what's more surprising. Us missing the playoffs, finishing 19th in the entire league, or the fact that this team couldn't put the puck in the back of the net. Because when we look at goals for per game, we were not in the top 10. I don't even think we were in the top 15. Like, we were the lower half. We might have been the bottom third. There is no reason with all this offensive power we should be finishing in the bottom third when it comes to goals for per game. Basically, everyone's taking a step back on this team. Hughes, 85 points. Buchnevich, 74. Zuccarello picked up 61. Can't really complain about that. But there's one guy I can't complain about. Kevin. We traded our medium elite potential goalie and a 3rd rounder for you, and you picked up 37 points. Last season, you had 65. Season before that, what'd you have? I don't know, like 40, 54? You got traded to Edmonton? Yeah, you had 54. Then you came here and picked up 37. Ain't no way. And UC Soros, I'm just hoping you can bounce back next season. We're just moving on from this. When the postseason came to an end, Carolina's finally going to have an answer for the Tampa Bay Lightning. They're getting past them in the conference finals, and they're going on to win the Stanley Cup. These two teams are going to be the death of us once we get to the postseason. I mean, we have to get back to the postseason first, but when we do, it's Carolina and Tampa. They just dominate the East. Thankfully, we held on to our 1st round pick, so we're going to have the 12th overall. Okay, my scouts have been doing a terrible job because, like, look at this. I don't know anyone's potential, and we're literally at the 12th overall pick. But Tony Oshie, you might be an AHL player. We're going to find out after this one. You're not. 75 overall. I mean, you might be related to TJ Oshie, so you could be a solid player. Well, I mean, if you're related to TJ Oshie, you might be one of the greatest players of all time just because he played for the St. Louis Blues. I mean, you won't play for us, though, because there's a very high probability we trade you at some point. Since we traded most of our picks away, we only had 4 picks in the upcoming draft, and since my scouts did such a terrible job, I was basically drafting blind. Now I understand why the CPU does such a terrible job. These guys do not scout whatsoever. I'm just shooting blind right now. Yanni Gourde, you might be the difference maker for this team. I think we went without you last season. I know you were here. What am I talking about? I'm bringing you back, though. I don't know why we let you walk to free agency, but $2.3 million. Come back to this team for one more season. We got to run it back together. It's probably the wrong decision, but I got nothing else to offer, though. Hear me out. This team couldn't score last season. Alexander Ovechkin, I don't know how I'm going to get you onto this team, but I'm going to find a way to get you onto this team. And this is the guy we're probably going to be trading for him. Barabanov for Alexander Ovechkin. I don't know how we're going to get this deal done, but we are somehow going to get this deal done. Kevin, I'm throwing you in this deal just because I don't want you on my team. It has nothing to do with your contract. It actually has nothing to do with anything other than I don't want you on the team, because the second you came here, we completely fell apart. So I'm throwing you in this trade. You would be a good, like, 3rd line piece for us. I mean, you're an 83 overall. I take that back. I want you off this team. We're somehow going to get Alexander Ovechkin on this team. I don't really care how we do it. I'm actually just going to change this 3rd to a 2nd. This is getting Ovi on the team. Okay, I'm pairing him up with Jack Hughes and Pavel Buchnevich on that 1st line. We might have taken a hit losing 2 forwards, but we got Ovi. And yeah, he's 40 years old at this point, but I've also simulated games when he's 43 years old and still picks up 60 goals somehow. We're going to hope it's one of those simulations. So I probably simulated about an hour and a half, and Willander, a 6th and a 7th, off to the Winnipeg Jets for a 3rd and 4th. So there goes another one of our young prospects, and right after that, we're trading another young prospect over to the Toronto Maple Leafs. So basically, there goes all of our prospects. But we're not done there, because Nick Paul, you're coming onto the team, and honestly, I'm not completely against this. We lost Kevin. He was like a 83 overall. What's Nick Paul? 82 overall. All right, you fit the role. Welcome to the Florida Panthers. It doesn't look like we're done there, because now 2 4th rounders are off to the Boston Bruins for Joseph. So it looks like we're going to keep on bringing depth forwards onto the team. Now it's Jesper Fast. We literally traded you a few seasons ago. Now we're bringing you back to the team. Okay, so this team is basically, can Alexander Ovechkin, Jack Hughes, and Buchnevich carry us to the postseason? If they can carry us to the postseason while Ovi picks up 60 goals, I think we might be able to win a Stanley Cup with this team. The defense is good enough. Like, I can live with what we have here. And in between the pipes, UC Soros, I just need you to have a bounce back season. If you can bounce back to 2 years ago, then we're set. I don't want to bring Oliver Ekman-Larsson onto the team. I actually refuse to accept this deal. I know I'm accepting all trades, but OEL, I'm sorry. I just do not want to bring you onto this team. I'm very against this move. I think this is actually going to hurt us more than help us. Yeah, I don't like this. We're 5-1 at this point. I want you guys to remember that. Okay, there is no reason our team should be this good right now. We haven't been offered any trades so far throughout the season, but I need to show you guys how good this team is because it makes no sense compared to last season. Ovi's got 80 points and we're at the trade deadline. 42, 15, and 5. First in the entire league. We're averaging 4.03 goals per game. We're the best defensive team in the entire league. Ovi single-handedly saved this team. That was the greatest trade I've ever made. Ovi has 40 and 40 right now, 62 games into the season. He's going to pick up 50 goals. Also, why is the rest of our team just playing so much better now? I think Kevin really was just holding us back. Also, if we haven't got a trade up until this point, I don't expect us to get any more, so we're simming to the end of the season, and we're going to go get ourselves a Stanley Cup. We're not losing. I refuse to lose this season. Out of any of the seasons so far, 42, 15, and 5. This is the one season I refuse to fold. When the season came to an end, we might have dropped out at first in the entire league, but I'm not too worried. 50, 21, and 11. 3.95 goals per game. Vegas stepped up to finish out the season. 4.3. That's pretty crazy. And we finished with allowing only 3 goals per game. These numbers I can live with. Ovi's looking fantastic. The entire team's looking great. We already know where this is headed. Probably to a first round exit. At 41 years old, Ovi's lighting the lamp. 49 goals, 48 assists, 97 points. Hughes is picking up 94 and Busnevich, he's got 84. Meanwhile, the rest of the team I have absolutely no issues with. I think everyone has a positive plus minus. Is there anyone with a negative? Nah. Everyone's positive here. Things are looking great. Let's go win a Stanley Cup. But first, we got to check out UC Saros' numbers. He's got 37 wins, 3 shouts, a 907, and a 298. The best season he's had since he's came to Florida, I believe. Well, I know for a fact he's never had a goals against below 3, so yeah. But all this regular season success isn't going to mean anything if we fall to the Carolina Hurricanes in the first round. And even if we get by Carolina, we're probably going to have to play Tampa in the second round. If we can somehow make it to the conference finals, we're easily winning a Stanley Cup because those two teams are by far the toughest. So the fact that we're still in this series is actually surprising to me, but here we are heading into game 7. It's do or die for this team. And when the games matter most, this Florida Panthers team is going to be shown out. Jack Hughes is going to be picking up 2 goals. I know Ovi picked up 1 in the first period, and we're going to be taking this one 5-3. But of course, why would things be easy for us? Because nothing's been easy so far, so now we have to take on the Tampa Bay Lightning in the second round. We got past Carolina, so if we can get past Tampa, we're going to cruise to a Stanley Cup and it won't even be an issue. But it's the Tampa Bay Lightning, and why would this team go down easy? We had a 3-1 series lead, and now we're headed into game 7. If we blow a 3-1 series lead here, I honestly wouldn't really be overly surprised. But thankfully, I am the greatest GM of all time. I picked up Alexander Ovechkin, and you know what he's going to do? He's just going to casually pick up a hat trick, and we're going to take this one 7-2. So we've got past Tampa, we've got past Carolina, no team's gonna put up a fight anymore, and now we have the Columbus Blue Jackets, and this team's got nothing on us. So unlike our last 2 matchups, the Columbus Blue Jackets are nowhere near as talented as the Carolina Hurricanes and Tampa Bay Lightning. We've got ourselves a 3-1 lead, then again we did drop game 5, but we're not gonna go to another game 7. We're just gonna smoke the Columbus Blue Jackets in game 6. We're taking this one 5-2, and we're off to the Stanley Cup final. So not only do I have a chance to win Florida their first Stanley Cup, but I have a chance to get Alexander Ovechkin a second. He's 40 years old, he's leading the way for us. We can't fold here, and it doesn't look like we're going to be because we have a 3-0 series lead. We're absolutely dominating the Seattle Kraken team. They can't even compete with us. Okay, we just dropped game 4. We're going to blow a 3-0 series lead. I already know we're going to blow it because why wouldn't we blow a 3-0 series lead? And just like that, in game 5, the Florida Panthers are Stanley Cup champions, taking down the Seattle Kraken. Yeah, so I guess we won't be blowing a 3-0 series lead after all. And of course, it should be no surprise who's going to be the man leading the way for us. That's Alexander Ovechkin. These numbers aren't right. He put up 19 goals and 13 assists for like 32 points. He was absolutely dominant in the postseason, and he's the reason that we won this Stanley Cup. But really, that move for Alexander Ovechkin was the biggest move of all time. If we didn't add him to the team, there's no way we win the Stanley Cup, and we probably don't even make the playoffs without him. So Ovi, thank you for saving this franchise, and more importantly, this video, because I was expecting this to take a lot longer.